Yashodanandana Prajajanaranjana Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Giri Badadhari Jaya Giri Badadhari Yashodanandana Prajajanaranjana Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Vishnupad Paramahamsa Pariprajikacharya Hashtatulasata His Divine Grace Srila Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jaya Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Ashtaturasata His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananda Gaudiya Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Shyamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Shri Nilachal Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Ganga Maya Ki Jai Jamuna Maya Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Hari Nam Sankirtan Ki Jai Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Bol All glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna All glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna All glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna All glories lotus feet of Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. So welcome everyone to today's, this morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. We continue with our reading and discussion of chapter number 9 of Canto number 3, chapter entitled Brahma's Prayers for Creative Energy. And this morning we will be reciting and discussing text number 41. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Putena tapasa yagne Dana Yoga Samadhina Radham Nishriyai Sampumsam Mat Pritis Tattvavin Matam Bhutena Tapasa Yagne Dane Yoga Samadhina Radham Nishraya Sampumsam Mat Pritis Tattvavin Matam Bhutena Tapasa Yagne Dane Yoga Samadhina Radham Nishraya Sampumsam Mat Pritis Tattvavin Matam Bhutena Tapasa Yagne Radham Nishraya Sampumsam Mat Pritis Tattvavin Matam Bhutena Tapasa Yagne Dane Yoga Samadhina Radham Nishraya Sampumsam Mat Pritis Tattvavin Matam Bhutena Tapasa Yagne Dane Yoga Samadhina Radham Nishraya Sampumsam Mat Pritis Tattvavin Matam Vaishnavis Putrena Tapasa Yagne Dane Yoga Samadhina Radham Nishraya Sampumsam Mat Pritis Tattvavin Matam Putrena Tapasa Yagne Dana Yoga Samadhina Radham Nishraya Sampumsam Mat Pritis Tattvavin Matam Natapasam Yagne Dane Yoga Samadhita Radham Nishraya Sampumsam Mat Pritis Tattvavin Matam Putena by traditional good work, tapasa by penances, yagne by sacrifices, dhane by charities, yoga by mysticism, samadhina by trance, radham success, nishrayasam ultimately beneficial, pumsam of the human being, mat of me, priti satisfaction, tattvavit expert, transcendentalist, matam opinion. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. It is the opinion of expert transcendentalists that the ultimate goal of performing all traditional good works, penances, sacrifices, charities, mystic activities, trances, etc., is to invoke my satisfaction. Please repeat after me. It is the opinion of expert transcendentalists that the ultimate goal of performing all traditional good works, penances, sacrifices, charities, mystic activities, trances, etc., is to invoke my satisfaction. Purport. There are many traditionally pious activities in human society, such as altruism, philanthropy, nationalism, internationalism, charity, sacrifice, penance, and even meditation in trance. And all of them can be fully beneficial only when they lead to the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The perfection of any activity, social, political, religious, or philanthropic, is to satisfy the Supreme Lord. This secret of success is known to the devotee of the Lord, as exemplified by Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. As a good, non-violent man, Arjuna did not want to fight with his kinsmen. But when he understood that Krishna wanted the fight and had arranged it at Kurukshetra, he gave up his own satisfaction and fought for the satisfaction of the Lord. That is the right decision for all intelligent men. One's only concern should be to satisfy the Lord of one's activities. If the Lord is satisfied by an action, whatever it may be, then it is successful. Otherwise, it is simply a waste of time. That is the standard of all sacrifice, penance, austerity, mystic trance, and other good work and pious work. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yata Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutan Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamsya E Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Turubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnupadaya, Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve, Gauravani Pracharine, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi, Paschachya Deshatarine. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. It is the opinion of expert transcendentalists that the ultimate goal of performing all traditional good works, penances, sacrifices, charities, mystic activities, trances, etc., is to invoke my satisfaction. So this beautiful verse is being spoken by the Lord to Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma, before he could proceed with the creative process, he offered some beautiful prayers to the Lord. And in reciprocation, the Lord speaks these verses, one which we are dealing with today. I find this part of the Bhagavatam quite extraordinary. Through the Bhagavatam, we get insights into what happened at the very first moments of creation. You know, the scientists and other people, they are speculating so much. What happened at the dawn of creation? How did it take place? What events happened? But Bhagavatam gives us the whole picture. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the very first personal exchange that takes place in this creation. The very first conversation. And it's worth noting that this conversation is a very loving exchange. There's some very loving exchanges taking place between Lord Brahma and the Lord in this section of the Bhagavatam. So Bhagavatam is something very unique. We get access to something quite extraordinary, which no one else has access to. So in this verse, the Lord is saying, it is the opinion of expert transcendentalists. It's quite interesting that the Lord doesn't say, it's my opinion. The Lord places great value on the opinion of his devotees. And Krishna always makes the words of his devotees come true. And the Lord is saying here that the ultimate goal of performing any type of activity that one can conceive of, is to invoke the satisfaction of Krishna. And it is the ultimate goal. About 5,000 years ago, when 88,000 of the greatest thinkers of the world gathered in a place called Naimisharanya, they came up with probably the 6 of the best questions one can ever conceive of. And the very first question that the sages asked Sutta Goswami was, who knows? Yes. What is the ultimate good for all people? Prabhupada said there's prayers and the shreyas. There is the immediate good and there's the ultimate good. And what was Sutta Goswami's answer? What verse did he quote? Yes. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti adokshaje ahoituki apratiyata yayatma suprasidati. Sutta Goswami says, the ultimate good is to perform devotional service to the Lord. And such service needs to be of a particular nature. It needs to be ahaituki apratiyata. It should be unmotivated and uninterrupted. Yayatma suprasidati. In order to completely satisfy the self, this is the only thing that can give satisfaction. In Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in his writings, he says, everyone has desires. The karmi desires sense gratification. The yogi desires liberation. The yogi desires siddhis, yogic perfection. The jnanis desire liberation. And then he says, we say that the devotees don't have desires. But the devotees do have desires. And the devotees' only desire is what? Let Krishna be pleased with my service and my activities. That is the desire of the devotees. Let Krishna be pleased with my service and activities. That is the complete preoccupation of the pure devotees. Krishna's pleasure. And Srila Prabhupada emphasized this so much in his teachings. Prabhupada used to always say, our main business is Krishna's pleasure. And even speaking of himself, Prabhupada used to say, my motto in life was, everything for Krishna, nothing for me. I want to quote two examples where Srila Prabhupada in particular emphasized this point. And the context of that is quite interesting. So the first context is, one devotee asked Srila Prabhupada a question. Very interesting question. He says, Prabhupada, when we go out on Sankirtan, chanting, what would be the best way for us to engage the crowd to become participants in the chant with us? What would be the best? Prabhupada. Best way you go on chanting. Your business is not to, satisfy the crowd. Your business is to satisfy Krishna. And then crowd will be automatically satisfied. We are not going to please the crowd. We are going to give them something, Krishna. So you should be very much careful whether you are delivering Krishna in the right way. Then they'll be satisfied. Your only business should be to satisfy Krishna. Then everything will be satisfied. Tasmin tushte jagat tushta. If Krishna is satisfied, then whole world is satisfied. If you pour water on the root, then it automatically is distributed in every part of the tree. So Krishna is the tree, root of the big tree, and you take to watering Krishna, chant Hare Krishna, and follow the rules and regulations. Everything will be right. Now, yes, any questions? And the second instance I want to quote was from a book written by my Guru Maharaj, Watering the Seed. In the book, he quotes one nice pastime with Srila Prabhupada. He explains that in the early days of Bombay, there used to be one very generous life member, Braja Bihari Khandenwal. He was very generous. Actually, he was the first person to donate 1 lakh rupees for Srila Prabhupada's mission. So unfortunately, he passed away one day, and the family called the devotees to conduct the funeral ceremony. And all the devotees from the temple, practically everyone went, and they performed kirtan. But one devotee, his name was Haridas, he was not aware of this event taking place. And he was there, and in the evening, he was massaging Srila Prabhupada on the top of the building. And then Srila Prabhupada said, "There's no kirtan going on. Where's the kirtan?" And then Haridas said, "Prabhupada, I think they are gone out. They're gone out for collection and they haven't come back yet." And then Srila Prabhupada said, what did Prabhupada say? Prabhupada says, "This was not my idea. That they should go to the city and collect all day and night. Our process is to please Krishna. They may go at 9 and return by 5, and then chant and dance in front of the deities. Otherwise, they will become just like karmis. We are successful because we try to please Krishna. And Krishna is merciful and reciprocates with us. Otherwise, Mr. Nair was so much more powerful than we. He had money, influence, his own daily newspaper. He had contacts, so many politicians and government officers. And who were we? We had no money, no influence, and no support. Yet we were successful by Krishna's grace. So we should come and sing and dance in front of the deities and please them. And by their grace we will get all success. We are not successful by our own strength. We are successful by Krishna's grace." So this was Srila Prabhupada's message in all of his writings, in all of his teachings, in all of his exchanges, that the primary business for all devotees is to please Krishna. And we see this in the lives of the great devotees and the great acharyas. Madhavendra Puri. Gopal was feeling very hot. And he said, "I need some sandalwood to cool me." And Madhavendra Puri, he didn't see, where's Loy Bazaar, I can go find some sandalwood. His mood was, where is the best sandalwood? I need to get that for Gopal. And he walked for many, many days. And he went to the place. There was the best sandalwood. And he brought that for Gopal. And on his way, he was thinking, what else can I do to satisfy Gopal? And when he passed this place called Ramuna, he heard that the Lord, Gopinath there, he has the best sweet rice. The best sweet rice. And he was thinking, how can I arrange for Gopal to get the same type of sweet rice? And when the sweet rice was being offered to Gopal, he was thinking, I wonder how that tastes. And then he had realized what he was doing, and he admonished himself. He said, how can I be so offensive? The Lord has not even taken his sweet rice yet. And I'm thinking, how will he taste? And he left the temple. And then later on, the pujaris came And they were saying, who is Madhavendra Puri? Who is Madhavendra Puri? Gopal has sent the sweet rice for you to taste. So this is the mood of the great devotees. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he had a servant, Govinda. Govinda was actually his godbrother, but he was instructed by his spiritual master, Ishwar Puri, to serve Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Govinda was completely, day and night, his only thought was how to serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Even before Mahaprabhu would ask for anything, he would know. And there's this beautiful pastime in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita where Govinda had fed Mahaprabhu his prasad, and the moment Mahaprabhu took his prasad, he fell asleep across the doorway. But it was Govinda's service to massage Mahaprabhu. So he was in a big dilemma. He had to cross over Mahaprabhu's body to go do the service. And we all know it is a big offense to cross over the body of a Vaishnava, let alone the spiritual master or the Lord. But Govinda crossed over the Lord, massaged his feet, and then he sat in the room. Then Mahaprabhu got up, he saw Govinda sitting there. He said, Govinda, have you taken prasad? He said, no. He says, why haven't you taken prasad? Because, my Lord, it's an offense for me to cross over your body. Then, Govinda, how did you come inside? I crossed over your body. Then, how you crossed over the body one instance and you don't want to cross over in another instance? And Govinda said, my Lord, for your service, I can accept any amount of offenses. But for my own sense gratification, I won't do that. I won't offend you. So this is the nature of the devotees. And this is the mood of the Vrajavasis. The Vrajavasis, they are 100% day and night, they are thinking about the pleasure of Krishna. Even sometimes when we think they are not, they are thinking about themselves. They are. Like one example, in the pastime of Lord Krishna, Jai Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda Ki Jai, Jai Shri Shri Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman Ki Jai, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai Ki Jai. So, the cowherd boys, they wanted to go. They told Krishna and Balaram, there is a forest called Talavan. And in this forest, there are some very nice fruits, tal fruits. And we want to taste these fruits. Can you please take us to the Talavan forest and get us some tal fruits? So when we examine this exchange, the cowherd boys asking Krishna and Balaram to get them tal fruits, saying, oh, these boys are asking Krishna and Balaram to do some service for them. But the acharyas explain that when the boys asked Krishna and Balaram to get the tal fruits, they were not interested in these fruits for themselves. They were thinking, if we ask Krishna and Balaram, get these fruits, we want to offer it, they may not be so inclined. They may not take it so seriously. But if we say we want it, we know they always want to satisfy our desire. They will get the tal fruits, and then when we get it, we'll offer it to them. So that is the mood of the Vrajavasis. And of all the Vrajavasis, there is no one other devotees like the gopis. And of all the gopis, Srimati Radharani is the chief. The Acharyas explain there is not a thought, there is not a word, there is not a movement, there is nothing in Srimati Radharani's consciousness but to please Krishna. It's completely and absolutely a consciousness that everything should be for the pleasure of Krishna. Everything, even if she's so-called angry with Krishna, in the mood of man, that is still to give pleasure to Krishna. And the gopis, they're also in that mood. All of the gopis. What will give Krishna pleasure? Prabhupada tells the famous story of Krishna having a headache. And to cure his headache, Krishna says he needs the dust from the feet of these devotees. None of the devotees were inclined to give Krishna the dust from their feet because they thought that would be a great offense. But when he went to the gopis to say, I've got a headache, what is the cure, Krishna? The dust from your feet? Yeah, take it. Yes, you take it. But you're not worried about offense? No, we're not worried. We can go to hell, Krishna. But for your pleasure, we will do that. And the gopis, they did not care for any moral codes. They did not even care for their reputation. Their only concern was Krishna's pleasure. Prabhupada uses this term, mundane morality. And Prabhupada says, we don't care for mundane morality. The gopis, they were young girls married. And when Krishna played his flute and he called for them so that he could enjoy, they didn't care what people would think of them. The wives of the Brahmanas, when Krishna and the cowherd boys were hungry, they approached the husbands of the wives of the Brahmanas. And Krishna and Balaram begged for them for food, and they rejected them. But when Krishna and Balaram approached the wives of the Brahmanas, they were ready to do anything and everything to see that Krishna and Balaram were well taken care of. So this is the mood of the Vrajavasis. This is the mood that Srila Prabhupada taught the devotees. But we know, at least I know for myself, I can't say for you all, that the proposition to be thinking of Krishna's pleasure all the time is not an easy proposition. It's not an easy proposition at all, because having lived in this material world for countless numbers of lifetimes, it seems that our natural inclination is to think of our pleasure, our sense gratification. So to be able to think of Krishna's pleasure all the time, one has to be very pure. And ordinary conditioned souls like myself, who is dictated by the mind, the modes of material nature and material desires, thinking of Krishna's pleasure is something that we have to make a concerted effort to do. I was listening to a class by Kadamba Kanan Swami, and he was making the point, at this point, he was saying To think of Krishna's pleasure is not an easy thing. He said, therefore he says, when we serve, we should think that this service, it's a preparation for my next service. I am not so much able to serve now. So this service is my preparation for my next service. And when the next service comes, we think, I am not so much in the mood to serve. My service mood is not very pure. So this service, I'll try to do it the best that I can, but it's the preparation for my next service. And in this way, Maharaj was saying, we have this mood of Ashabandha. In the Nectar of Devotion, Srila Rupa Goswami, he uses this term Ashabandha, hope against hope. That our hope is to serve Krishna in the mood of invoking Krishna satisfaction. But we are not so much able to do it. But let me try. Let me try. And coming back to this point of mundane morality, when Prabhupada was making this point to the devotees, he was saying, Arjuna didn't want to fight. But when he understood that Krishna wanted him to fight, as Prabhupada says in the purport, he did it because he knew it was for the pleasure of Krishna. And then he talks about Maharaj Yudhisthira, where he was once asked to speak a lie. He was asked to speak a lie that Ashvatthama is dead. Because Dronacharya was fighting so valiantly, there was no way he could be defeated. And Krishna says the only way he could lose spirit if he knows his son, Ashvatthama is dead. So he told Yudhisthira, can you say that Ashvatthama is dead, please? And Yudhisthira said, I've never spoken a lie in my life. Ashvatthama is not dead. How can I say Ashvatthama is dead? He didn't want to speak the lie. Then Krishna says, okay, say Ashvatthama the elephant is dead. So there was an elephant on the battlefield, his name was Ashvatthama. Krishna killed the elephant, so he was dead. And he said, okay, say Ashvatthama the elephant was dead, is dead. So Yudhisthira said, Ashvatthama, and when he said the elephant, Krishna blew his his conch shell. So the elephant was blocked out. And all Dronacharya heard was, Ashvatthama is dead. And when he heard that Ashvatthama is dead, he lost his spirit to fight. And he became morose. And in this way, Dronacharya was defeated. And Prabhupada is saying, we are not so much interested in mundane morality. Our standard for morality, which Prabhupada calls the spiritual morality, our standard for morality is, will Krishna be pleased by this activity? And if Krishna will be pleased, then we'll do it. And Prabhupada then offers a warning. He says, don't make up your own idea of what pleases Krishna or not. Because Prabhupada knows the mundane mind, its inclination is to make up and convince ourselves that certain thing is pleasing to Krishna, well, where it may not be. So Prabhupada says, find out from the Vaishnavas, find out from the spiritual master, find out from the Shastra what is pleasing to Krishna, and then do that. Therefore, when we see Srila Rupa Goswami, when he gave his definition of what is Uttama Bhakti, the topmost Bhakti, he says, Anya Bilashita Shunyam, Jnana Karmadi Anavrita, Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam, Bhakti Uttama. my Guru Maharaj tells the story that he once went to see a life member. And the life member offered him some tea, chai, not the herbal tea, but proper tea with caffeine. And he says, yeah, I offer you some tea. And then my Guru Maharaj, no, we don't take tea. And the man says, oh, he took out his cup of tea. He opened a little tin, which was full of tulsi leaves. He took one tulsi leaf and he put his tea. And he says, Swamiji, see, whenever I have my tea, I have it with some tulsi leaf. But the point being made was that yes, his mood is favorable, but it's not as Krishna desires. So pure devotional service should be free of any tinge for the desire for karma, yoga, jnana, liberation. We should serve Krishna favorably as Krishna desires continuously. And if we unpick this entire definition of Uttama Bhakti as given by Srila Rupa Goswami, we will see that it is a brilliant definition. And one more point, closing point. We've been talking about pleasing Krishna. And in this definition of Uttama Bhakti, Krishna Anushilanam is being used. When Srila Prabhupada comments on this definition of Uttama Bhakti in the introduction of Nectar of Devotion, Srila Prabhupada says, when we speak of Krishna, we do not only mean the two-handed Shyamasundar form of Krishna. When we say Krishna, Krishna means his name, his abode, his form, his quality, and his devotees. Krishna is not only Shyamasundar Krishna. Krishna is everything, his name, his form, his qualities. So when we talk about pleasing Krishna, it encapsulates all of this. It encapsulates Krishna, his devotees, and everything else. So it's 12:30 now. In summary, the Lord is saying that all activities, dharma svanastita pumsa vivakshena katosaya notpadayat yatim ratim shrama eva hi kevalam. Shrama eva hi kevalam. Anything that is not directed towards the pleasure of Krishna is simply a waste of time. All of the great devotees, all of the teachings, everything we are doing is meant to be done for the pleasure of Krishna. In the beginning stages, in the stage of sadhana bhakti, it is not our natural inclination to think about the pleasure of Krishna, because we are not in a purified state. But through the execution of Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, we become purified to the point where it becomes natural. Prahlad Maharaj was once asked if he could forget Krishna for one moment. And he said it's not possible. Just like iron filings are naturally attracted to a magnet, in the same way, he says, his mind is drawn towards Krishna. So when one is in a purified state, then automatically our consciousness will be drawn towards giving pleasure to Krishna. So thank you very much. I'll stop here.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please. You can.
About the 5 arrows that were meant to kill the Pandavas, what happened to them?
I'm not sure.
Anybody else know?
Anyone else knows?
Because it seems like a mystery, you know, they were taken, but what happened to them? And I thought, well, you know, it must have gone somewhere, unless Arjun used the arrows himself.
I'm not sure, but we'll find out and we can maybe discuss.
Yeah, if you got somebody who
Hare
knows
Krishna.
that.
Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for wonderful class. Prabhu, in the beginning, Prabhupada mentions that expert transcendentalists, and whenever Krishna is saying something which is very significant for us, he refers devotees, like in Bhagavad Gita, he says, Arjuna, Kantya pratijanahi nime bhakta pranashyati. So it's very easy for us to understand and apply. And even when we are in difficulties, we realize that, yeah, Krishna is there, so nothing will go wrong. But like when we preach to people, and it's very tough for them to understand that, yeah, we can understand Krishna's instruction, but like
Yeah, you can speak. I can hear you. Yeah. Oh, okay. Or maybe you can speak out loud.
So it's easy for us to understand when Krishna says that, especially in Bhagavad Gita, says, so it's very easy for us to understand. But when we preach to other people, so it's very hard for them to understand why Krishna is using his devotee. Because they hardly understand Krishna because of their devotee. Like we easily understand Prabhupada's words.
Hmm.
For others, how we can make it simplified and like more applicable for them.
So your question is that for ordinary people, for devotees, they can understand that when the devotees are quoted, we take it very seriously. But for ordinary people, it's the opposite. They'll take it seriously when Krishna is quoted, but they won't take it seriously when the devotees are quoted. So your question is how we can help them understand. Is that your question? Yeah. I think for now, let them have faith in Krishna's words, because there's so many instructions by Krishna. And generally, the devotees simply repeat Krishna's instructions. That's the parampara. That's the nature of a devotee. They won't come up with something new. If they say something, they are simply saying what Krishna said or instructed. So we will find places where Krishna has said it, and later on Krishna quotes the devotees. So we can use that bit where Krishna said. And as they develop faith in Krishna, then they will hopefully develop faith in Krishna's devotees. And when they come to the point of having more faith in the devotees, then their advancement will accelerate. So I think we should understand whatever the devotees say, or Krishna is quoting the devotee said, is ultimately coming from Krishna, and we'll find that instruction somewhere. So Prabhupada used to say a devotee is meant to be expert to know, what to say, when to say, who to say it to. Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu. I don't think there's a mic. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your most wonderful class. Just thinking about, if we think about the start of our movement, it was very direct that, all the devotees' goal was essentially to create Srila Prabhupada.
Yes.
There's one pointed, in a smile, Srila Prabhupada's face, and that we can easily relate to. That is Krishna, exactly this. Whatever it is, exactly. In our thing, by so much about what will please me, but we may be thinking more about what is, let's say my psychophysical nature, like that, and let me do what connects with me more, like that. There we may be able to deliver more, because that's connecting with them. But if it is not pleasing, to the authority or to the person we're working who is a representative of Shiva, then that principle, may get not so